Hi, it's Honest John. Donald Rumsfeld has a book out, and he's been on all the talk shows promoting his book. Let me speak to Don straight up instead of talking about him. First of all, Don, you don't have to lie anymore, right? You lied us into Iraq and you got away with it. Okay, so you don't have to pretend like you were telling the truth anymore. We all know you were lying. All kinds of stuff has come out. We know that you guys were planning to invade Iraq on the first week that you got into the White House. Okay, we know that shit. We know that you used 9/11 in order to go there. One of the things that's really funny is when you guys say, well, Bill Clinton even thought that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Last I checked, Bill Clinton did not hold any office in the Bush administration. He certainly wasn't part of the intelligence community, and you ignored his advice about paying attention to Al-Qaeda and Bin Laden and the terrorists, to the point where when you got the word that there were young Arab men learning to fly airplanes, but they didn't want to learn how to land and they didn't want to learn how to take off, it didn't occur to you to say, this is strange, maybe we should check it. So, can the shit about Clinton, okay? Right? But the real thing is that why'd you write a book? You were the worst Secretary of Defense in the history, not just of our nation, but of every nation on the face of the earth. One good example. You had Bin Laden cornered in Tora Bora, didn't you? And our soldiers were dying to go up there and get him, and you held them back. Nice going, Don. Second, as a Secretary of Defense, you were supposed to know something about war. You obviously knew nothing about war, because you thought that the Afghanistan war was over when it had just begun. You thought it was over after the first couple of weeks. Here we are, how many years later? We're still there. All right? You were like, oh, the war's over. Let's go start another one. And then you went into Iraq, and you thought that war was over in the first couple of weeks. And we all remember the mission accomplished sign, right? Now, if you'd have read your history book, you would have read that most wars take a little time. You might even have read something about a war, the 100 Years' War, the 7 Years' War. You know, all these wars, they took a little bit of time. You seem to think that all you had to do was drop a few bombs and march the soldiers into town, and you won the war. As a result, a lot of our soldiers got killed and injured unnecessarily, and it's your fault. If I were you, instead of being on national TV, I would be hiding in my house with a paper bag over my head. Now, in a previous video, a message to George W. Bush, I mentioned about his book that I would only buy his book if I ran out of toilet paper. But even if I ran out of toilet paper, I would not buy your book, because I would not disrespect my shit by exposing it to your words. Fuck off, Don.